Hi, it's Brother Charles of Reviewers Revival. Thanks for joining me today. Right now you're looking at EZkeys Grand, one of the components that are included with the suite of pianos that have been recently released by ToonTrack. This suite of pianos, this collection, is called EZkeys Essential Pianos. This fantastic sample library came out in late 2011, perhaps early 2012. It is the exceptional sampling efforts of ToonTrack. They recorded a Steinway Model D grand piano in pristine condition. I'm not sure what equipment they used and what the recording process was, but it is delicious. Every one of these keyboards and pianos that have been included in this collection feature incredibly well-articulated, detailed sampling processes. These pianos have been sampled to absolute perfection, and given the incredibly small footprint of each one of these 4 sampling libraries, it's absolutely amazing just how good the sound quality is. Each one is no more than 500 or 600 megabytes apiece. We will see that EZkeys Classic Electrics weighs in approximately at 1 gigabyte, but that's because it includes 2 separate sample libraries, one being a Fender Rhodes Mark I and the other being a Wurlitzer 200A. Using EZkeys Grand, I'm now going to guide you through the process and the simple steps required to create a basic chord progression or construct a song within EZkeys. If we come down here to the Add Chord to Song Track button, we can add a perfect 1-measure chord. Now you'll notice this is the G chord. That's because down here in the song track overview area, you'll see that I've selected the key of G major with a signature of 4/4 time and a tempo of 106 beats per minute. These are my song defaults. Every time we use the Add Chord button, it will add a perfect 1-measure chord, and we'll always use the default key signature. So the first chord, rather than it being a standard G, let's make that a G major 7th for jazz fans or mood composers. Let's create an A minor 7th, median minor add 9. I like that. And we'll make this one, how about a C minor 6th, back to our root major 7th. Let's listen to this, folks. That's how easy it is to apply chords to the chord progression and add them into the MIDI sequencer's timeline. Personally, I find all of these chords to be a little light in velocity, so I'll select them all, right-click, choose Properties, and increase my velocity level up to, let's try 11, and demo that. I like this. There's a little more shimmer to the piano. Sympathetic response is more easily discerned. Hammer strikes seem to balance so well. I really enjoy the sound of the EZkeys Essential Piano sample libraries. Every one of the instruments in this collection are stellar and stand very strong on their own right. This is one of my very favorite Steinway Model D sample libraries. I own quite a few. Some are the large multi-gig sample libraries. Others of them are older and not quite so large, but I will admit very openly that this is fast becoming one of my personal all-time favorites. And considering that the size of the sample library, actually of each one of the sample libraries contained in the EZkeys Essential Pianos collection, is only approximately 500 megabytes apiece, it is incredible that they sound so good considering their small footprint. Good job, ToonTrack. Now that we have a simple chord progression dragged down into the MIDI sequencer's timeline, I'll show you how to apply the various patterns, or how to apply one of the various patterns to any or all of these chord blocks. By the way, each chord is known as a chord block within the ToonTrack vernacular. We'll select a chord, click on the MIDI browser button, and it brings up the MIDI libraries window. For our first chord, we'll go to single chords, rolling chords, variation 3, which by the way you can demo each one clicking on the small play icon. Now that this is highlighted, we simply click on Use Browser MIDI. It will apply that pattern to that chord. This includes velocities, chord inversion, and etc. We can make this permanent by clicking on Replace. Now let's select another chord block and look for a different pattern. We'll choose Pop Rock Straight 4/4. Let's try the verse variation. That one's nice. Use Browser MIDI. Click Replace. Let's demo this. We'll change our B minor ninth to the same pattern as our root chord and demo it. We'll select two chord blocks, come back to Pop Rock Straight 4/4, verse variation 3, use Browser MIDI, click Replace, and finally we'll select the last chord block, our root chord, back to the one, G major 7th, single chords, rolling chords, variation 3 is highlighted, use Browser MIDI, click Replace, and finito. We are finished. Let's take a listen. Beautiful. Having applied variations, having applied MIDI patterns to the individual song blocks, I find that the velocity level is again too light. So selecting all of them, we will right-click, choose Properties, increase the velocity level up to approximately 11. That's a good setting. Demo this. I really appreciate the shimmer of the piano. Increasing the velocity level brings out a little more of the piano's magical sound. With our simple chord progression in place, let's now demo the various presets included with EZkeys Grand Piano. Raw tweaks is a way to be able to apply detuning, increase or decrease the level of detail, as well as hammer sounds and your sustain pedal sounds. I like bringing up the detail level. Mild detuning. Going on to Swedish Jazz. Small bit of tape drive to emulate the piano being recorded through an old tape machine. Extra body control. Retro Space Ballad. This one's interesting. ToonTrack have done a wonderfully good and capable job of giving us good quality effects. On their own, the effects built into the EZkeys line are nothing for us to turn our noses up at. So for anyone that's just starting out with home producing or would like to have a standalone instrument that you can play without having to use external plugins, the EZkeys line includes great quality effects. Swedish pop is nice. The richness of a lovely studio chorus. Old Time Boogie's pretty cool. It doesn't work very well for this particular chord progression, but let's listen to it anyways. The truth of the matter is Old Time Boogie will work really well sitting in a standard pop or rock and roll mix. On stage. Very jazz lounge-like. The degree of authenticity that we hear in the hammer strikes is beautiful. Lovely. Electric Dirt. I like how Electric Dirt can almost replace a standard electric piano. If you don't already own a good quality electric piano sample library or virtual instrument, the Electric Dirt setting will get you through. Beautiful for moody, moving ballads. Grand tremolo. Atmospheric depth. This one would work really well for just standard, sustained soft chords. And yes, that's actually me playing, folks. Horror score. Somewhat similar to the preset we've just listened to. Dreamscapes. Again, lovely. And there you have it. We've just listened to all of the built-in presets, instrument patches that are bundled with EZkeys Grand sample library. By the way, if we want to save this chord progression that's being created in the MIDI sequencer timeline as a MIDI clip to be used for a later time, simply come to the menu button, scroll down to Song Track, and export song as MIDI file. Optionally, you can also save it as a WAV file.